everyone. Thanks so much for joining today's webinar. My name is Erica Harris. I'm the Marketing Manager here at Cardiolog Analytics. I'll go ahead and kick things off. So today's webinar is on leveraging gamification to drive employee adoption in SharePoint, Office 365, and Yammer. A bit of housekeeping. So this webinar is being recorded. If you wanted to share this with a colleague, we'll go ahead and send an email with the recording after today's session. And of course, if you have any questions, please send them through the questions box within the GoToWebinar panel. I see a couple of you have already sent us messages, so thank you very much. And we'll leave some time at the end of the presentation for Q&A. You can also connect with us on Twitter with the Twitter handle @Cardiolog. In regard to today's agenda for the webinar, we'll start out with a very short introduction. I'll talk a bit about Cardiolog Analytics and who we are. I'll then jump straight into gamification for SharePoint, Office 365, and Yammer, where we are now with engagement in the digital workforce and how we can use gamification methodology to better drive portal adoption, collaboration, and productivity across the spectrum. Then I'll walk you through several use cases of how you can use gamification tools to increase employee engagement. And then I'll jump into a presentation of our revolutionary new product, Gamify. At the end, we'll be taking some questions, so feel free to send along those in the question box over the course of the presentation, and we can address those at the end. A brief introduction about Cardiolog Analytics. So Cardiolog has been around for over 13 years now, since 2005, and we're based out of Boston. Over the past 13 years, we've been focused on web analytics designed for SharePoint and now Office 365 and Yammer. Our flagship solution is Cardiolog Analytics, and it's built specifically for internal platforms, including all versions of SharePoint from 2007 to 2016, as well as SharePoint Online and Office 365. We can also track third-party tools like Citrion, CRM tools, Yammer, and the like. And our solution is available both on-prem and as a SaaS version based on Power BI. So just a little bit about our vision as a company. So we've been working with our customers for over 13 years, and this slide shows our evolution as a company. So our goal is to help our customers constantly improve SharePoint based on how it's being used. So there are three main pillars that we talk to our customers about. The first pillar is monitoring activity, which is tracking the usage within SharePoint with in-depth intranet analytics, insights, and usage reports. Our customers realize that understanding usage analytics is often simply not enough, though. They wanted a way to take action based on the insights gained from monitoring their portal usage. The second pillar is engaging users, asking them what their needs are, what their pain points are, and what's not working for them. And then finally, the most important pillar is enhance. We want to make sure that we're constantly improving SharePoint based on these pillars. The idea is to have actionable metrics which allow us to constantly make SharePoint better for our users, increasing corporate productivity and improving portal ROI. As I mentioned earlier, here's a brief overview of our various analytics and employee engagement solutions. So our flagship solution is Cardiolog Analytics. This is available both as an on-prem and as a SaaS solution. We also have Cardiolog Engage, which is a great interactive solution for sending internal communication campaigns across the SharePoint portal and engaging with your users. With Engage, you can connect with your users to know what their needs are, launch surveys, and really dig deep into understanding how you can improve various aspects of the portal. And finally, we're going to talk about Gamify today. We'll focus a lot of our presentation on how you can use gamification methodology to motivate your users and improve your SharePoint adoption. I'm going to jump straight into gamification and SharePoint, why we came up with the solution, and where we are now with SharePoint adoption and engagement. So first, I want to talk a bit about the challenge. So 70% of the workforce is actively disengaged. This results in a huge loss of workplace productivity. As well, enterprise software is still perceived as difficult to use, which results in lower user adoption. So portal administrators often struggle to boost their end user collaboration and engagement levels, drive internal productivity, manage inefficient search, and ease their migration processes. So another challenge is that training and the learning environment are often disconnected from real work. So what does that really mean? Employees get really excited during training, but once they return to their day-to-day work, this excitement disappears. And then what are we left with? So there's a need for constant guidance beyond just sporadic training periods in order to continuously motivate users within SharePoint and have a long-lasting effect on improving portal adoption. And finally, there's a gap in SharePoint for targeting end users with real-time feedback. So users have no idea how their usage compares to others in the portal. They don't really understand why they need to be using the portal, and they have no real motivation to consistently return to the portal. So how can we fix this? Up until recently, we've mostly been focused on the admin side of the portal with really in-depth analytics targeting administrators and business users who can use these analytics and actionable insights to make changes to improve their portal and motivate their users. But that can only go so far. So to see real long-lasting change in portal usage, we needed to revolutionize our approach to increasing adoption. This is why we decided to incorporate gamification methodology into portal analytics as our answer to this adoption challenge that many organizations face. So what is gamification anyway? Gamification is the craft of deriving all of the fun and engaging elements found in games and applying them in the real world and productive activities. So gamification focuses on the design of tools back to its most important element, the end user. It's a design process that optimizes for human motivation in a system as opposed to pure efficiency. So most systems are function-focused, designed to get the job done easily. This is like a factory that assumes its workers will just do their jobs because they're required to. However, human-focused design remembers that people in a system have feelings, insecurities, and reasons why they want or do not want to do certain things, and therefore gamification optimizes for their feelings, motivations, and engagement. Gamification takes these important elements of psychology and behavior into consideration. So through the use of gaming mechanics and logic, gamification enables a shift towards human-focused design and can make work fun and meaningful while at the same time fostering collaboration, adoption, and productivity. And according to a recent Gallup survey on employee engagement, employees that receive regular individual recognition and rewards for doing good work are responsible for a 10 to 20% increase in revenue and productivity. I can assume that we're all here today because in one way or another, we all work with SharePoint on a daily basis. And when you work with a technology like SharePoint, I think it's important to remember that we should approach the use of these technologies from a human perspective, because at the end of the day, it's humans who we're seeking to motivate. Our answer to that is enterprise gamification. Enterprise gamification can drive SharePoint adoption so you can realize the many benefits of SharePoint, going beyond a brief adoption project. It lets companies create lasting change in behavior that drives SharePoint adoption. Gamification drives employees to boost their involvement with SharePoint so they can make better use of SharePoint collaboration, communication, and management capabilities, ultimately boosting portal ROI. So as Satya Nadella has been very clear about his vision for Microsoft, stating that empathy is not just something nice to have, but is core to the innovation agenda in a company. And when organizations can leverage gamification and engagement strategies in the digital workplace, they translate Satya Nadella's vision into reality by putting themselves into the shoes of their users to drive a more productive workplace. Now I'd like to take a moment to introduce to you Gamify. So to solve some of these most pressing SharePoint challenges, we created Gamify. It's a SharePoint-based gamification service which encourages users to take action in the portal, ultimately increasing SharePoint adoption. Gamify is a radically new way to drive productivity and adoption through a gamified user experience. It helps you to make your activities, content, and your users more visible within the intranet with the end goal of boosting SharePoint adoption and productivity. Gamify is available to deploy on SharePoint on-prem, SharePoint Online, and with Yammer. And with Gamify, your organization can use recognition to reward contributions. Employee recognition can always be improved, and Gamify provides continuous recognition via badges, leaderboards, and tokens, driving employee adoption of and contribution to SharePoint. This, in turn, motivates existing users and encourages new users to adopt SharePoint as a key component in their work habits. With Gamify, admins can easily tap into user motivation. With Gamify, you can encourage users with targeted user dashboards, message bars, and web parts within SharePoint, displaying their engagement score, how they compare to their peers, their best performing content, and next step suggestions. Gamify also drives social engagement. Gamification encourages collaboration and rewards it, creating a strong social driver for the use of SharePoint. It also improves compliance, driving repeat visits into SharePoint, ensuring that compliance goals and communication dissemination requirements are constantly met. Gamify can also improve onboarding and training processes with our user score updates and next step suggestions. Gamification works well in training, whether for onboarding or on the job, and can tie it into any use of SharePoint. Used through SharePoint, it can create a measurable increase in the completion of training tasks and the involvement in learning. So let's walk through several use cases of ways administrators can leverage Gamify to drive employee adoption. Admins can easily select the behaviors they want to encourage in their portal to promote adoption and engagement based on the KPIs of their organization. There are three main groups of user actions, or what we call skills, that admins can select in Gamify to incentivize their end users and departments. The first is observation skills, the second is engagement skills, and the third is contribution skills. SharePoint administrators can leverage Gamify to track these skills and these skill groups to encourage intranet usage, promote adoption, improve engagement, and encourage users and groups to contribute content and collaborate with their colleagues. If SharePoint admins want to increase portal usage and promote adoption, they could use Gamify to award points to their users for their observation skills. So, for example, when they search for content or view and download documents, like content, and follow other users. So these are great metrics for admins to track for new employees who are going through the onboarding process and have a lot to learn to get up to speed with the company and their team. These are also great metrics for employees who want to provide training to new skills, processes, and features. So Gamify will make your onboarding and training programs more fun for the employees at all stages and levels of their careers. Next, we have engagement skills. So if SharePoint admins wanted to improve engagement in their portal, they could use Gamify to award points to their users for their engagement skills. For example, when they write comments or rate content. These are great metrics to track as an administrator if you set a goal to encourage your end users with their colleagues and their colleagues' content in the portal. Administrators can also award points for end users when they interact with messages like surveys, message bars, and campaigns. These metrics are great to track if you're looking to increase interaction within and engagement with the portal, as well as to incentivize your end users to provide feedback to improve your portal. Gamify can also be used for Yammer to track things like threads, shares, likes, Yammer groups, and so forth. If SharePoint admins want to encourage users to contribute content and collaborate with their colleagues in the portal, they could use Gamify to award points to their users for their contribution skills. For example, when they write a post, update content, or contribute content. These are great metrics if your organization is more focused on content creation and increasing portal collaboration amongst and between your individual users and departments. With Gamify, administrators can prioritize and track these behaviors in the portal. And with Gamify, it's easy to motivate employees to reach portal adoption and engagement goals. Admins can decide which metrics are important to them to track and incentivize in their employees over time and during a certain set period. Admins can choose to stick with the same metrics from year to year to reach annual adoption and engagement goals. You can also run daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly challenges to encourage adoption and engagement of certain features over shorter periods of time. In addition to identifying which teams are the leaders in SharePoint and Yammer adoption over time, you can also see which groups are lagging in usage. And to motivate these laggard teams, you could run a competition between individual users as well as between teams and departments to promote adoption. As we can see, there are many ways SharePoint admins can use Gamify to increase portal engagement. For admins, it helps them understand where their end users and departments stand in terms of engagement, how their end users and departments perform over a period of time, and how one department compares to another. The great thing about Gamify is that it's designed to benefit both administrators and the end users. In addition to an administrator dashboard, Gamify also includes a dashboard, message bar, and SharePoint web part for the end users to visualize and track their progress in the portal. And for these individual end users, it allows them to understand where they stand in terms of their engagement level, how they perform over a period of time, what their persona and skill levels are based on their behavior in the portal. Are they an observer, an engager, a contributor? And how they compare to their colleagues. And for teams and departments, it helps them understand where their teams stand in terms of their engagement level, how their teams compare to other departments and teams, and much more. Let's hop into a quick demo of Gamify to see it in action, and then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. Starting with our administrator dashboard, here you can see how the admins can select the metrics they want to track based on their organization's KPIs. You can select from a variety of user activities you want to incentivize in your portal. For example, if you want your end users to like content, follow users, write comments, view and download documents, search for content, interact with messages, etc. It's very easy to set the metrics that you'd like to track. Now let's take a look at the administrator dashboard itself. So this dashboard gives you an overview of how your groups and users are performing within the organization and what their scores are. Here you can see the dashboard for the HR department. Across the top, you can see a high-level overview of likes over time, churn over time, and ranking over time. And below this overview area, you can see the most adopted groups, which are the groups with the highest scores. You can also see the most adopted employees in a group. These are the users with the highest scores within the group. We also have the average group score here. So this is the average score of the group members combined. And we also have group engagement metrics. This is the average score of the group for each month. We also have user rankings. So these are users with the highest scores within the group in a list format. And of course, we have a filter here. So you can select a group and the entire dashboard will dynamically show you your information specifically for that group, as we can see here. Now I'll hop on over into the user dashboard. So this user dashboard is a really powerful way to share information directly with your end users on their performance and motivate them through their achievements and scores. So here we have the user score. It's actually calculated by the overall activity of the user. The higher the score, the better. And we also have a group score. So the group score is an aggregate score of all of the group members combined. And here in this overview section, the user can see their individual persona. So personas are used to profile the user based on their usage. And there are three types of personas. We have the observer, who view the most content and perform searches. We have the engager, who likes to rate content, like content, and follow other content and people. and the contributor, who likes to write posts, comment, upload docs, and much more. So a user is assigned a persona based on which of these three activity areas they are the strongest in. The other two types of user behavior are visualized as skills, as you can see here, where users can track their progress over time. And in our case, our user is in the top 3% of all engagers and needs to make some progress in the areas of his exploration skills and contribution skills. And below this overview section, we have My Stats. So here we can see the readers, which is the total number of people who read a user's content. We also have positive ratings. So this is the total number of ratings a user received between 3 and 5. We also have comments, which is the number of comments a user received on their content. We also have engaged. So this is the total number of times the user's content was engaged with. And over here, we have the My Peers section. So you can see our user right here. And under here, you can see that he has 17 points and he's in 55th place. And in first place is John with 123 points. So you see how he stacks up between the user with the top score and his fellow colleagues, Rachel, who's just above him, and Alex, who's just below him. So they really get a good sense of where they stack up as compared to their other colleagues. We also have a recent achievement section here. So this is a top contributor who is active for X number events in a row. He performed 1,000 searches and wrote 100 posts, 5,000 engaged users in 1 week. We also have the My Best Content section here. So there's one content piece with the most readers and another content piece with the most followers here. And my favorite part is top ways to boost your score. So here the users will see next step suggestions of the top ways they can boost their score. And we also have this dashboard available as a message bar and a web part, which I will show you now. So here's another way that we can visualize this gamified dashboard right within the SharePoint portal. You can see David here on the QA team has 73 points and he's in the top 10% of all engagers, as well as how he's performing in terms of his exploration skills and contribution skills. You can also see the engager leaderboard here for the QA team, so how David stacks up against his colleagues, as well as how the whole QA team ranks in comparison to the other departments like HR, R&D, and sales. And here we highlight the leaderboard within the QA team. So we have David as an engager, but we also have a top explorer of the week as Mark Brown and a top contributor of the week as Rachel Jones. And again, we have the top ways to boost your score section here in the message bar. And below we have the same gamified dashboard as a web part right in the SharePoint portal. So again, users are able to see their peers and how they stack up, their recent achievements and badges, and their stats. They can easily go to see full stats to go back to their dashboard. And we also have this dashboard both for admins and for users available for Yammer. So here's what the Yammer admin dashboard looks like. Very similar to the other admin dashboard we took a look at in Yammer as well. You're able to select the metrics that you'd like to track and incentivize in your users. And we have the admin dashboard for Yammer, and we have a Yammer user dashboard as well. So now we have a couple minutes left for Q&A. So I'd love to invite you all now to send in your questions and comments in the questions box in GoToWebinar. So we have a question from Rachel. So what is the licensing for this? So this is a SaaS platform. It's a yearly subscription-based solution based on the number of users being tracked. And we'd be happy to send you a link to the pricing page and get you additional information once we know how many additional users you want to track and target within these tools. Another question from Andrew. Can we use it for SharePoint Online? Yes, absolutely. You can use this tool with SharePoint on-prem as well as with SharePoint online. Within Office 365, we can track SharePoint and VMware Forms as well. And in our roadmap, we'll soon be releasing tracking capabilities for OneDrive, Teams, and Skype for Business. We can get you a link to our roadmap after this recording as well. Great. We have another question from James. So can we target different departments? Yes. So one thing that Cardiolog does is connect to the SharePoint profiles, so you can track any region, department, branch, job title, and really any other details you use to segment your users and leverage those properties in the analytics as well as with Gamify. Another question from Sarah. So how easy is it to deploy? What's neat about this tool is it's designed for SharePoint, so there's no need for customization when you want to deploy it. With our setup wizard, you can get it up and running within an hour and already start collecting data. Another question from Marcus. Do you have a trial? Yes, we do have a trial. We have a free trial as well as a proof of concept for people who want a longer evaluation or to try more environments and features versus the free limited trial. We can definitely share more information about what's included in each. Any other questions? We have a couple other folks who are asking for pricing and the roadmap, so we'd be happy to share that with you after the call. Other questions are, does your product support Microsoft Teams? So yes, we do have Microsoft Teams in our roadmap, and we'll soon be releasing Gamify for Teams as well. So we are just about out of time now, so I'm going to wrap up our session for today. As a reminder, we have recorded this webinar, and we'll be sending out the recording tomorrow for you to share with your colleagues who were unable to attend. And we invite you to visit us at cardiologanalytics.com to book your free demo of Gamify and Cardiolog Analytics and Cardiolog Engage. You can always tweet us at Cardiolog. And for more information and helpful tips, you can check out our blog at blog.cardiologanalytics.com. And for more information, you can always reach out to us and contact us at info@cardiolog.com. So I wanted to say a huge thanks to everyone who joined us today and sent in their questions, and we will be in touch soon with a recording of the webinar, pricing, and our roadmap. So thank you again for joining us, and you'll hear from us soon. Have a great day.